A judge is now deliberating the fate of a former Kitchener school principal who's charged with 2 counts of sexual assault, 2 counts of sexual interference, and 1 count of invitation to sexual touching involving former students. The Crown and the defense made their final submissions in court today. CTV's Colton Wiens was there for the proceedings and joins us now live with more details. Colton.
Well, Tony, the day started with a little bit of confusion. On Monday, the accused Rodney Eckert pled guilty to 1 count of sexual assault and invitation to sexual touching. But this morning, his defense changed, and the judge struck his guilty plea to invitation to sexual touching. This means Eckert is guilty of 1 count of sexual assault, but the judge still needs to decide whether Eckert is guilty on the remaining 4 charges. And a heads up, there are some graphic details in this story. During Rodney Eckert's defense submissions, his lawyer, Richard Marchuk, went through the remaining 4 charges Eckert faces, arguing his client was never seeking any sexual gratification from the incidents. The charges in question center around 2 physical incidents that occurred at St. John Paul II Catholic Elementary School in Kitchener in 2021, along with an online conversation involving Eckert and a student in 2023. One incident involves Eckert touching a student's testicles after the student was injured. Eckert pled guilty to sexual assault but maintains he is not guilty of sexual interference. Testimony during the trial heard Eckert laughed and used the phrase, "Is it always that big?" when he was examining the student. His lawyer argues Eckert touched the student out of medical concern for them and was asking about swelling. The student testified he thought it was in reference to his penis. Another incident involved Eckert giving clothes to a student to change after the student got mud on their clothes. Court heard Eckert opened a change room and the student entered a stall. But when they emerged, Eckert tugged on their shorts, exposing their buttocks, and said, "Look at that white butt." Eckert didn't recall saying the phrase, and his lawyer argued he was trying to show the student that he was at risk of someone else pulling his shorts down because they were so low. Crown attorney Matt McLean argued in both cases they're alone with Mr. Eckert, neither were necessary, and said that the phrases Eckert said to the students support the charges of sexual interference, saying an adult in a position of power should know that. The other incident in question involves a one-on-one online conversation with Eckert and a student after Eckert retired, where Eckert said to the student, "Just promise me that you are masturbating to release the pressure." His lawyer arguing that comment was made in reference to a common joke students were making and was meant to make the student laugh. But the judge pointed out the motive for making an invitation is not relevant. While the Crown argued joking about sexual conduct is considered a form of grooming, and Eckert, being the adult, was open to shut down any conversations happening with a student outside school. The defense also questioned the credibility of one of the students involved, arguing their ability to recount things was not reliable. The Crown pushed back that there was no evidence of collusion, saying both witnesses are credible and, if anything, seemed embarrassed to provide full details. Now, the judge will now deliberate on the 4 remaining charges. Again, Eckert has entered a guilty plea for 1 count of sexual assault. A decision is not expected until the end of May.